So here we are again for Destination Disability Part 2. And I left you on a bit of a cliffhanger, didn't I, last time? But before we get stuck into that, you're probably wondering why I do these videos out and about in the countryside, and hopefully you can see Dartmoor behind me there. And the reason being is there's research out there to suggest that exercising in the great outdoors is as good as antidepressants for mild to moderate anxiety and depression. You know, and I've always been really passionate about exercising outdoors, and now the research is out there to say that it actually is good for you. So last time I said to you that I was sent off for further tests. Well, when the consultant decided that that was going to happen, that was down in Penzance in West Cornwall. So I was sent to Truro Hospital overnight, and the plan was to take me up to Plymouth Freedom Fields Hospital, which is no longer there, for tests the following day. Apparently that night I became very unwell. I screamed the whole place down. The cot sides were put up on my bed. I climbed out over the cot sides and fell on the floor, and I was loaded into an ambulance and rushed to Plymouth, where I was put in a CT scanner, and they found, when I had the CT scan, that I had a cerebral abscess. Now, a cerebral abscess is an abscess between the brain and the skull, and it was at the point where it was about to kill me. So I was told afterwards that I had approximately 24 hours left to live without medical intervention at that point. So I was obviously rushed into the operating theatre, where my skull was drilled into, and they extracted the bulk of the fluid from the abscess and then started to kill the rest off with antibiotics. I would need further operations, so a tube was left in my skull for other minor operations where they would keep draining the abscess while it was being killed off with antibiotics. But when I came round after the operation, and I have no memory from the moment I got into bed at Truro to about 2 days later, no memory whatsoever. But when I came round after the operation, I was totally blind, completely blind. Everything was black. So I was a kid who loved the outdoors, loved exercising, loved my rugby, and now everything had just changed. You know, my life had just changed. Now, I was told at that point that I should make a full recovery. But unfortunately, because of the missed opportunity to send me for tests much earlier, and I said in the last piece that my headaches were going on for 3 weeks, that was an opportunity that was missed. It was left so late that permanent damage was done to my optical nerves, which is where the abscess was resting. And my eyesight did start to return, but I was left blind in my right eye, and I've been blind in my right eye all my life. You know, it's not going to get better now. So that's not necessarily what caused the PTSD, although that was a contributing factor, but we'll talk about the actual cause, the crux of the cause for the PTSD next time. But just to leave you now, if you can imagine how my life has changed. So I've gone from being that active kid, enjoyed working on the fishing boats, enjoyed my sport and so on, and now I have to try and soak this up. And this all happened in a time where there was no support for mental health. There was no support for various things that there is today. Okay, but we'll talk about that as we go through. But that was Destination Disability Part 2, and I hope you're enjoying these. It's quite cathartic for me to put these down, but let's take a second and hopefully you can see Dartmoor in the background there. And it's not even raining today, which is great. Take care. See you next time.